Welcome to Boomhauer69's channel, and today Boomhauer is going to talk about another idea I got to about the homelessness, and this is an idea I thought about as well to help out homelessness, and I call this wish list. I made an Amazon wish list of a rough idea of what I would add. It's called Homeless Survival Pack. I just call it pack, kit, whatever you want to call it, but these are some ideas of things I would add to the kit. Now, this is not set in stone. It would be later on when I get the funding, figure out what the budget would allow, what kind of stuff I could add, like money-wise, how much. I'd have to see how much money I get later on down the line and figure out what I could all add to the kit. But essentially, my idea is to build a good survival kit for homeless people to be able to survive in the elements and stuff. Like, say they were living down by the river or in a wooded area, they would be able to use this sort of pack. And what my ultimate idea would be is to take like a basic backpack like this and put contents in it that would be useful for people living on the streets and kit. Like the actual kit that I made for my personal self a long time ago was something that could be used in the woods, and that's what I kind of geared this towards, and I'll go through each individual item and why I chose this item. Like, for example, here, this folding saw, I actually own one of these and did a video on it on my YouTube channel here. But this folding high carbon steel folding shovel, I thought would be a nice small compact shovel. Would be good for a homeless person to maybe dig them a fire pit or something, or if they have to go to the bathroom, they could use this to dig a big hole and bury their restroom issues. And if they have to go to the bathroom and they're living in the woods and there ain't no proper restrooms around or a public toilet they can quick go use, this would also be handy for that restroom situation. Sorry for being so graphical there, but and then also to maybe dig a hole and make a little fire pit, to help contain a fire, as well. That's why I added the shovel, because I thought there'd be many usefulness for that. And one thing I would add to this kit, I didn't put it in the list, is a basic sleeping bag and maybe a basic tent, but I went with tarps instead, kind of for the cover, shelter, to build shelter. Like these here, some of these items are bulk items, because I'd be making more than one of these kits, so it's I went with kind of cheap stuff, like some basic matches here. I'd probably maybe in one bag throw a couple matches, packs of matches in there to help for them to get a fire started, And I also added other fire starting stuff too as well, like a lighter and striker, because I would add more than one way for them to build a fire, so they'd have quite a few options. And I just thought of this as add some fire tinder, which I forgot. And some basic flashlights here, The matches would be just for them to build a fire to either keep warm or try to cook some food and like to stay warm and stuff, and sleeping arrangements. A wool blanket, they could easily use this wool blanket to cover themselves up, and then if I add a sleeping bag as well, they could use it with the sleeping bag to try to stay warm. Or if the sleeping bag is just enough for them, they could also use the blanket, fold it up, and use it kind of as like a sleeping bag. Use it for a pillow, a headrest. Because that's what these are. These are kind of camping style wool blankets, ones that you can use out in camping, These wool blankets, I've seen many survival YouTube videos out there where people talked about how these are really good to have, and so that's why I included one, and if funding allowed me, I would get some of that. And then here is I have one of these and did a video on it, the Arcturus survival blanket. You know, this is the orange one. I have the camouflage one. The reason why I chose the orange is so that way if a homeless person was out in the woods, got hurt, and for medical and needed help, they could wave the orange to let everybody know who they are and hey, they need help or whatever, you know. And especially in the hunting season, you know, to let hunters know, hey, there's somebody there. And this kind of tarp is I would go with is because you can also use this as a blanket. It's got the mylar stuff, so you can use it as a blanket to try to keep your body heat, you know. Because what you do with these is you can wrap these around your body, and then when your body gives off heat, it will hit the reflective material and then bounce back onto you. Or, like I watched many survival outdoor videos like Corporal's Corner, they will use these as a roof for their shelter, and then they'll have a fire where that heat will then hit the mylar, the shiny part, you know, the reflective material here, the mylar shiny part, whatever you want to call it. The heat will then hit and bounce back onto them, and you know, when you're making what they call the lean-to, and that's why I added this, because this would be really good and helpful, because they could use this as a blanket or use it as a roof cover for shelter to help build a shelter out in the woods and stuff. And then it's compact and will fit in the backpack. And then I included rain ponchos. I decided on these ones because they're mylar reflective. If you can use them though in a cold, rainy situation, put one of these on, and it will also help keep body heat and help try to keep you warm, you know. Instead of those just cheapy little plastic ones that just shed rain off of you. But a rain poncho I thought would be better than obviously an umbrella. You know, this I thought would be a better solution than just throwing in a cheap umbrella, you know. And then, too, you know, since homeless people don't necessarily have a lot of money funding, I also would throw in some ways to purify water. Like, these are those water purification tablets where if you got like a certain size water container, like water bottle, you can, you know, put a tablet in, and it will, and you wait and shake it, and then you wait a while, and it will make the water safe drinking. And also one of these life straws. I would add in the kit both the water purification tablets and some life straw and one life straw as well. So and then also with the cooking pot, I would go with that would also help them. So they'd have multiple ways to make safe drinking water for whether it's drinking, cooking, whatever the case may be. And these are pretty simple and basic to use as well. So they would have one of these, and again, these are just one of those straws that filter out the bacteria and impurities in water to make it safe to drink, so you're not damaging your body and getting parasites in your body, you know. These kind of help filter out the dirtiness, you know. If it was me and I was homeless and I had multiple ways, what I would do is find a way to, like with this straw here, to take the clean water, have a way to where the water gets filtered into a container that you can boil, where I would use these as a filter to help get some clean drinking water, and then I would take my little stainless steel container that I can use to boil water in, and I would put it on the fire and boil it as well, you know. So give it some extra protection. That's what I would do, is use one of these, try to figure out how to dump the filter water into a container that's safe for boiling, and then also boil up the water as well, just for an extra safe measure, you know. Because obviously you can, you know, out there you can find a nice crypt water that has water that would be safe to filter and drink. And then here, I've added multiple flashlights, you know, because I'd add about 2 or 3 different kinds of flashlights. And this here is just a basic say, folding saw for cutting wood. So they would be able to cut up some dead branches or a dead tree, smaller dead tree or whatever, to have firewood. This would help them to make campfire wood to build a fire and whatever they need, And then, of course, cordates here. This is just 550 paracord. I would add that to also help, so they can tie stuff up or anchor down their tarp and help to build a shelter, because you need cordage to basically to build a shelter and stuff. So I would add that. And I'd also summon that small jute line as well. And then here is some headlamps. I'd had a headlamp so they can have a headlamp and their hands would be free to do whatever else they need. And so yeah, basically in the flashlight department, I'd add quite a few flashlights. Like these are those rechargeable little clickies, Some of these are battery operated, and if when funding allowed, it would all depend on what funding allowed. I would for the battery operated lights, I would swap them out for rechargeable batteries, and then throw in a little, like I got on here, a little solar panel and a USB little battery charger where they could plug the little USB battery charger into the solar panel and charge and recharge their rechargeable batteries, and so that way they don't have to keep going out and buying batteries. And this here is one of those little flashlight solar AM FM radio weather radio power banks, as you see here. And this I would include so they have a way to get a weather report. If they don't have a cell phone or any other device on them, they would have a way to keep track of the weather so they can prepare ahead of time for whatever the case may be, whatever weather situation they end up finding themselves in. Again, this would be a good knife for, these are Morvat knives. I'd add one of those because they're a cheap basic knife and they could use it for making firewood, carving stuff out of wood. I got one of these, but the companion, and I'd use that multiple times to help make tent stakes and carve points, and you can even make cooking utensils out of wood if you had one of these. And they're a good all-around basic utility knife. You can cut rope, carve stuff out of wood and whatever the case may be. And then these are just simply ferro rod strikers. They're those little rods that you strike with your knife or whatever tool you have. You take your dull end on the knife and you strike it like this, and it produces spark to help build a fire. And I would add one of these to help for another option of building fire. I would add lighters, matches as well in one of these, and so they would have multiple ways to start a fire. And like these are just some basic lighters here. Now what I would go with instead of these probably is maybe some Bic lighters. Find out a place that sells in bulk some Bic lighters and stuff. And then again, this is just a basic, here's a basic solar panel power bank, so they could charge up a cell phone, or if I added in one of those USB battery chargers where they can recharge their AAAs or AA batteries, and plug it in and charge it up through solar. I imagine that would probably take a long time. Could it be slow charging? I don't know how long it would take. And then here's just another little knife. I'd add a couple of basic knives in there. Again, a Morvat, the saw had about kind of 3 knives, so they have a little bit of options, And this looks like it's got a can opener on it too as well. This is just a basic kind of rough idea can opener. And the reason why it's so expensive because you get 12. It's a bulk item. And it looks like here it had a can opener and a bottle opener and the basic quart, So they would have a way to open up canned goods as well, And then here is a basic little Stanley Cup Set. This comes with 2 funny little plastic cups. They could use this to boil up a few cups of water, 24 ounces of water, and then have some drinking cups to make coffee or whatever, or to simply purify water to make it safe drinking. This is another way you can, and I would add too about a few different ways, I'd add purification tablets, a life straw, and some sort of cooking pot, I'd add two, I'm thinking about would add two, this little Stanley Cup set, and then maybe like a little folding, camping, little basic frying pan so they can cook food. And this here, what they could do is boil up some water, maybe crunch up some ramen noodles, and make a small, and add like another multiple little cook set, into. But these, again, are not set in stone ideas. This is just a rough draft. This is what I'd call a rough draft idea of what I would do, because all it would be is just basically a small backpack like this, again, with some contents in it that would help the homeless to survive. And the reason why I'm making this video is to show people an idea I got, and also to give people out there that also want to help out the homeless a rough idea of what they can do, and then also for people to give me some ideas of what to add, So comment below what you would add to this kit that you think would be handy for homeless people, to survive, I could also add in some sort of duct tape so they can repair stuff as well, and just comment below what you would add to this kit. I know you gotta look around for a good first aid kit as well, like some band-aids and stuff, but again, just comment below what you think you could add to this kit. And if you're somebody out there watching this video and you're a professional guy at making survival, kits and stuff, comment below your thoughts that what you would add to this kit that you think would be handy for homeless, and I'll check it out and stuff. And hope you learned something from this. And again, by sharing this video and liking it and subscribing to my channel, you're going to help me out to be able to do these things, Right now, I don't have the funding to be doing this, but this is just an idea I got rolling around in my head for maybe later on future reference of ways to help out the homeless. I know a place that helps out homeless in my area, and I would build these kits, give it to her, and she would just hand them out to the homeless people in the area and stuff. But yeah. And this is just a basic tarp that I would also throw in. But yeah, so if you have any suggestions, ideas, comment them below. Hit that thumbs up if you thought this was a good video. And thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope you all have a good day.